What up, AJ family? Today I want to do a video on a reaction to something real close to home to me. This happened in June of 2005. 3 Camden boys found dead in trunk of car in the yard. Now my whole city were like floored by this because everybody wanted to find these 3 little boys. It comes so hard to me because I did not used to live far from where this happened. This happened on Mount Ethan in Camden. No, not on Mount Ethan in Camden, but I lived on the 1200 block of Sheridan Street. And my street used to be the street that used to have the parades come down, you know, when there was a 4th of July parade, or, you know, during summer. We all lived to see the summer because we expected those parades to come down from Walt Whitman Park, because Whitman Park is where all the parade, they all line up and they come down off of Sheridan Street, and from Sheridan they go straight down Mount Ethan. And you're probably saying, why are you telling us this? Well, I live not far from there. And I remember that day like it was yesterday. It felt like a piece of you was missing. Even though I wasn't a parent, but the sadness of that day, because those 3 little boys were missing. You know, one of the little boys, his name was Daniel, Augusta, Justin, Hagan, Annabelle, Cruz. You know, Daniel was from Camden, so was Annabelle. He was from Camden. But Justin, he was from Mount Ethan in Camden. You know. Why I wouldn't tell you so much about this is because police, neighbors. I mean, I was at work. I was working 2 jobs and plus going to school, and I had my daughter, you know, in 2003, and I had a son, you know, and I was like, if that didn't come close to home, when you heard that there are 3 boys and it was blasting all over the news and neighbors and the city and people and police, and you got neighbors out, you know, flyers and telling you about the little boys, they're missing and they've been missing since 5. It was crazy and chaotic. I remember so much going on that day. It felt like not Armageddon, but it felt more like you ever see something on TV and you notice that something's wrong and your city is like in an uproar and they're trying to find these 3 little kids, you know. And for all those who know what I'm talking about that live in Camden, New Jersey, about that time that this all happened, they can tell you it was crazy. It was crazy that partial week. I mean, people who didn't know these 3 boys, they were putting it out there. It's like everybody's putting it out there. 3 little boys are missing and stuff. You know, the thing that really took hold of me is that I'm jumping a little ahead, but the news media, you know, seemed like everybody was trying to get a piece of where these 3 boys are. Did they get kidnapped? Did somebody come on and take them? When they were playing in the backyard, all 3 of them was playing in the backyard of a relative's house, well, a friend's house. Now, during this time, they were all looking for these kids, and they were all 3 of them were in the back trunk of a car. During the time that they were looking for these kids, the police, they had their hounds, they had all these things that they had, and none of that helped these 3 kids out. You know, they check pipes, they check nearby woods, they check riverbanks, everything possible that you think that they could check to get. You know, they were right there with all this, but none of that they did help. But the thing that took me out the most was there was one police officer in there, a woman, and it was her job to check the cars, and not just her but several others checked the cars, you know, but there were things that they missed. And because she was called away, she didn't finish her job up of checking the car. She stated later that she did do it, but she didn't do it. They would have found those kids between 12 and 13 within that time frame. Those amount of hours that they could have gotten those kids, they wouldn't have died. They would have pulled them out. It was hot that day too. So imagine a hot day and humidity inside the trunk of a car played a very significant part. They suffocated. Yes, they suffocated in the car of the boys' grandmas. Now, I've always said that if you have cars that are just sitting around on your property and you're not using them, remember, there are children out here that they think those cars are, hey, something to play with. You know, the car was just left there available for them to do whatever, play in and out of the car, you know what I mean? No one thought anything of it, but that's where they died. They died in the trunk. They suffocated. It was hot out that day in the evening. It was humid, like, I wouldn't say humid, but it was hot. And they suffocated. Well, the county prosecutor, Vincent P. Ruby, he was a little torn up too. Everybody was torn up by what happened. They were like, we were all there. We were all there to do this one job, and that was to find these boys. And we did not even check the car. The car was sitting there, just sitting there in the yard. Nobody thought to check the trunk of the car, you know. The person who found the boys was Daniel's father. On live TV, they showed the father running and screaming after he opened the trunk and he found the kids in the trunk. He could not contain himself. He just lost it. He blacked out. People and friends around him and family came to his aid. They wound up taking this man to the hospital at the end. I have never in all my time, my heart felt for this parents who were like right there, and they were like, we were right there. Nobody thought, all of these people around there, not one of them thought to check the freaking trunk. This very day, seeing one of the YouTubers, when he brought up about these 3 little boys, I was like, I was there through all that. That was an emotional thing on me and people around me. People on my job, they were crying. People on the streets were crying. People who you didn't even know who these kids were. And just, some of them lost it because some of them had kids too about these ages. The moral of the story of this is that the police dropped the ball. They blamed the police because the police had all these things that they could have done, but none of them thought to check the car. They asked one person, did she check the car? She looked inside, she's seen sneakers, and hey, I don't know about you, if I see clothes or something in the trunk, in the car, I want to know where those clothes belong to. Too, I would have popped the trunk, the doors were open, the windows were down. Why not check the trunk? I'm just saying. She said she did. So guess what? Because she said she did. See, the Camden made a settlement out of $2.25 million for the boys in the trunk, because it was their job to check the trunk too. Small YouTube channel. Like, comment, subscribe. And remember to hold a little tighter to your children, because there's always a silver lining at the end of the road. To like, comment, and subscribe. Help this small little YouTube channel get at least 10,000 or 500. I don't know. Just help a small little YouTube channel. And remember, this is just a reaction video. I know these 3 children because I live in that area. If you know anything about back then, you know everybody, the neighbors knew everybody, everybody's kids, you know who kids, you know, generation after generation, you know the grandma, you know the aunts, you know the uncles, you know the kids, you know, this very day, some of them be like trying to figure out, hey, how do you know me? Trust me, in a small town, in a city, you know everybody. Again.